Good morning, beautiful people. As you can see, there is a lot of snow everywhere. It's because there was some snowstorm this whole week, and today we had no idea. There was some predictions for snow yesterday, so there was some hailstorm. But when we wake up today in the morning, it was so white everywhere, and I'm just loving it. So we are just going for some grocery shopping video about MS in UCD College. So let's head on for groceries, and then we'll start our video. So I just back home ऐसे snow में खेल कर आ गए हैं and we just made our reels. You can just check it out on Instagram. So this is our final grocery shopping. All the things left for sanitization, and this is our bill. So whenever you go to shop, make sure you download the app and scan. So we had the bill for 51 euros and we got 10 euros discount, and the final is for 41 euros. So always download the app and scan for reward points. Today we have Akul. So Akul has completed his graduation from University College of Dublin. So he will be sharing his experience about studies here and his overall college experience and how he was looking for the jobs here. So Akul, could you just introduce yourself or just give a little background for our viewers?
Yeah, hi everyone. So my name is Akul. I'm from Delhi, India. I had completed my undergrad in Canada. I was there at Wilfrid Laurier University, and then after that, I moved back to India to get some work ex. And in Delhi, I was working with Yes Bank. I was in corporate banking for about 3 years, and it's basically corporate banking, handling the banking requirements of multinational clients, who are operating in India. So after 3 years, I decided, okay, it's time to sort of, upskill. In 2020 September, I'll reached here. Most of my because of COVID in general, the master's experience was very different as compared to people who had come before me. So as a matter of fact, I didn't get to have a single class in person.
Yeah.
Right? It was all virtual at that time. All the classes, all the texts were done virtually. Even then, so for me, it was it was like it was sort of like make it or break it. So I decided to make the most of it, even though everything was virtual. I tried my best to go to campus as often as I could.
So thanks for sharing your background. That's really great. Like it's true. Like it's never too late to start whenever you decide to start your master. And guys, this is a thing to note. Like whenever you try to apply online for abroad studies, take a time for 9 to 12 months, because that's the ideal time. You will get ample time to apply to universities or the colleges, and if there are any scholarship offered, you will get some really good time to apply these scholarships on time. Like if you are applying on your own, that's great. And if you are going through a counselor, do your own research, reach out to the alumni over LinkedIn, anybody else like who has the prior experience living here in Dublin, because that will give you a broader understanding of the people who are already living. Did you apply on your own or did you went through a counselor?
So it was a mix of both. I did my own research, to start off with, spoke to different people, different alumni, what is experience like, what are the opportunities there. And then I decided to go through a consultant because I was able to save on the application fees.
Sure.
Through the consultant itself. They helped me with the application processing, but I filled out most of the forms on my own.
Yeah.
I did all the essays on my own.
So if anybody needs some help with the counselor, if they want to go abroad, Australia, Canada, or USA or Ireland, and if they need any help, there is a link in the description below to the counselor. They can fill out that and I can connect to the right person. Okay, now let's talk about your university experience. Could you just share like how much was your overall college fees and how was your experience with the faculty station? You said it was an online experience, so you might have had a feeling like you just missed on something. So could you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of fees, get the main thing out of the way first. The cost. So it was 24,000 euros, 24,000 euros in total for the entire course, and that included everything. So definitely missed out on meeting a lot of people from the course itself. Having that in-person interaction. And I was the representative for the Smurfit campus. Yeah. So the Smurfit campus at UCD is basically the business school, which is all the postgrads, MBAs, and so on.
Great.
So I was a part of the International Student Society representing the campus on that front. I had joined Enactus UCD as well. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Enactus. It's this organization that sort of empowers social change. You
Mm.
know, throughout they have multiple chapters around the world. It's there in India, it's there in China, it's there in other European countries, North America as well. And so that was a good experience as well. I was a part of I was acting as a consultant in the consulting team,
Mhm.
focused on providing data related solutions on a
Mhm.
pro bono level to any startups operating around in our community. So we would do these pro bono consulting projects just to give us students a practical learning experience, or a practical experience of how these engagements would work, and also an opportunity to apply the skills that you learned during your course.
Yeah.
So and we also held the first ever case competition on a national level at UCD through Enactus. I was a part of that. That was a very good experience. I met a lot of people, from different courses, expanded my horizons on that front. Learned a lot about, let's say, business analytics or data science as well, because I'm not from a technical background. So that was a whole new field for me altogether. Apart from that, I joined the student and investment society at UCD. So it's basically a student run investment club where they're managing 25,000 euros and investing in different US and European stocks.
Okay.
So I was an equity researcher on that. Well, I would analyze the stock of Nestle, this Swiss company. You've definitely heard of it. So, and I was able to present to the wider team and everything, and then ultimately uh, my stock pitch got selected for investment, and that was really helpful. It was a good confidence boost. I learned a lot, made good connections, and it's basically like, the moral of the story would be to make the most of it. Don't be shy. Even if things are virtual, try to get involved as much as you can.
That's great. You had a really great exposure during your
Yeah.
study. That's great to know that. All right. So could you tell me, like, did you get any scholarship for your course?
So since I applied very late to the course itself, I was not able to apply for any scholarships.
So could you just give a short overview of your course content? Like you had 3 semesters, right?
Yeah, so it was first semester was basic in a sense. Uh, it was a recap of what you would have learned in undergrad if you're coming from a finance or an economics background. Second sem and third sem were more sort of advanced. You would have more of the group projects. You have more of you know different different topics that you might have not come across before.
Yeah.
So in our course we had different modules ranging from capital markets to econometrics. There's we had like derivatives, different you know basically what a typical MSc finance course would cover.
Like how are the faculties in your universities? Did
Hmm.
you get like a great experience with them?
Yeah, yeah, the faculty was good. Even though because of the virtual environment, you were not able to interact with the professors as much on a one-on-one basis.
Yeah.
But again, through the other channels, through the other involvements I was able to make up for that.
Did you apply to any other institute in Ireland or was it just UCD?
It was only UCD. I only applied to UCD, and apart from UCD, I had applied to a couple of other universities in UK.
Okay.
But then again, I chose Ireland because there was a lot of uncertainty at that time regarding Brexit.
So how did you manage your monthly expense? Like, did you do any part-time jobs or how was your overall monthly expense looks like here in Dublin?
So in terms of monthly expense, I guess the main cost would be the rent, obviously.
Yeah.
Uh, so in my case, I was in a house sharing with six other people,
Yeah.
but I managed to get a single room, even though it was really small.
Yeah.
I used to call it the Harry Potter's cupboard under the stairs, if you would. But I was paying 600
Mhm.
euros for that for the month per month. Apart from that, groceries and everything. So if it's groceries for an individual, I would say would be around like 50 or 60 euros a week. Then you have your mobile phone expenses and so on. Apart from that, you have your household bills, uh, the utilities, electricity, gas, and so on. So obviously, depending on the usage, that would come around, I would say 100, 150 a month,
Yeah,
you know,
overall.
overall, including the Wi-Fi and everything as well.
Yeah.
See, for miscellaneous expenses, if you want to go out with your friends, to the pubs and everything, uh, it's, take out 100, 150 a month for those expenses. So yeah, I was trying to manage as much as I could. I was doing part-time jobs, yes.
Did you find any difficulties in finding a part-time job?
Yeah, initially I did actually, because here it's very much a reference-driven, process. So the word of mouth or having references always helps
Yeah.
when applying to these part-time jobs. And it's the more you apply in person, I believe, the more impact you will make on that, on the hiring manager,
Right.
and that would sort of help that decision. So that was at the campus itself. It was a job with UCD, with Smurfit, as a research assistant in one of the projects that was, being carried out by a professor,
Mm,
and it was a project on ESG.
mm.
ESG is one of the hottest topics in finance and investing since the past few years, and I thought that matters to my sort of course the most, my skill set and my future career goals the most. So I chose to spend the most time over there.
Were you able to manage your monthly expenses with your part-time job?
Yeah, yeah, I'd say with a little bit help from home, obviously. And it's more like about, you have to sort of, for a year you have to live on in a budget, control your expenses as much as you can, and then once you get a job you're more free in a sense in terms of the monetary constraints.
So guys, if you haven't watched my video on monthly expenses, I'll drop a link in the description below. You can watch out the ideal monthly expense here in Ireland and figure out how you're going to spend when you come here. How was your job experience here in Ireland? Like, what are the tips you would like to give to the viewers? Like, when they start looking for the job, what's the ideal time?
So I would say you have to be on the lookout from the first couple of months that you come here, that you start your course, because you know the processes start early over here as compared to India, for example. Right, India, we're pretty much used to having companies come to the campus itself, conduct interviews on campus. Those campus placements that goes on in the colleges, that's not a scene over here. Here you have to be more proactive, take ownership and do the applications yourself.
Mm.
Even if you meet a company on the campus who comes in for a recruiting event, you'll ultimately have to apply online. Gain as much market perspective, as much market knowledge as you can. That really helps. uh, for me, in terms of my particular role that I'm in right now with Equal Alpha, I applied through LinkedIn, came across the role in my last semester. I basically did an application on LinkedIn. I was pretty much interested in that. Didn't exactly know what it entailed completely, but yeah. So I applied for that, and then the hiring manager reached out. They wanted to have an interview, so it was a half-an-hour interview. The first one more on the behavioral side, getting to know you, your background, what's your experience like, if you would be, a good fit overall in terms of that, in terms of your background and skill set. The second round was more of a technical round, wherein they asked me to give a presentation uh, on a particular company, and after that it was just a meet and greet at the end, the third round. Very smooth process, I feel, because I was kept in the loop throughout. I was informed of each step and the timelines. It would be required for them to get back to me, or and it was very candid and open-ended, the discussions when I was having about the contract or about the salary. uh, uh, Also, this would take a step back in terms of internships. So my course in the last semester, so there was a choice of doing either a thesis or take up electives, modules, or you do an internship, right? So even for the internship, the same thing. Process starts, the first couple of months since when your course starts, and not everyone would get an internship. There's only limited opportunities available. Uh, I had a couple of interviews for internships. Didn't really go my way. I couldn't get through, and ultimately I ended up taking modules. And it didn't turn out bad at all, because at first I thought, okay, what if I don't get an internship? What will I do after that? It will be so tough to get a full-time role. But it was not the end of the world. I
Yeah.
was able to actually enjoy the modules.
You said you had internship. In Canada, universities help people to get these internships. So was there anything provided from the university for internship, or is it just your own way? Like just look out for internship. If you get one, then great. Otherwise, you can choose these modules.
The careers team would post the job postings, the internship postings online on the career center website, or they would be emailed to you. Ultimately, you have to apply on your own. You know, the
Yeah.
career teams would be there to give you guidance on how to draft a cover letter, how to draft a CV according to the IRIS standards, uh, how to best approach the the interviews, how to you could do mock interviews as well, practice your interviews, or like basically how to best go about the entire process. The career teams would be there to help you, but ultimately it's a trial and error process also. Like, you learn with experience. you know you make 100 applications, you'll get probably 4 or 5 acceptances, or so on. But it's also a trial and error process. You learn along the way as you go.
My experience says that choosing a university or a college does not really matter, because it's just you should have the right skill. But what was your experience? Because since you're from university, do you think that made any difference while finding a job?
uh yes and no, to an extent. I'd like to think not, because I'd like to think that, okay, yeah, my skill sets and experience were the right things that they were looking for, and that helped them make the decision on hiring me, not just the university, because ultimately it's a brand name, right?
Yeah.
uh Ultimately, the knowledge given in the classrooms would be the same, right? Again, going back to what I said earlier, it's what you make out of it. It's what you make of it.
Yeah.
How you take those opportunities that come your way, how you seize them, how you best sort of position yourself in the right way, also to make the best of those opportunities. And actually, technically is called the best school here, best brand name,
Yeah.
which has the best reputation. Uh, but then again, you also have individuals, your colleagues who are there working with you, who are not from UCD. So that also says something about that the university doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So just to let to know our viewers, we were from the same company. I was in the same company where Akul is currently working. So yeah, he's right. It sometimes matters, but it does not affect your job search. How's the job market in Ireland for finance?
Okay, tough question. Because I only have a limited knowledge about this, having been only here for a year and a half. But it's way better as compared to 2020 levels, 2021 levels. When COVID was at its peak, a lot of companies were not sure about the hiring plans. But these days, I do see a lot of job postings out there in the market, especially on LinkedIn. You
Mm.
know, uh, the job market overall is good. It helps in the low corporate tax rate helps, because a lot of companies come here. They set up their centers, the tech centers, the R&D centers, or even uh, the finance companies. They have their the back office, the middle office. Uh, so the jobs are there, definitely, but again, it depends on what you're looking for. So a lot of times I get LinkedIn requests from people who are applying to UCD or Trinity, or to a finance course in Ireland for the upcoming batch, and they ask me, what are the investment banking jobs like in Ireland, because investment banking being a hot uh, job area in the world of finance. Everyone wise to into that. And then when I read those questions, I do get an understanding that, okay, that person has not done their full research, because there is only a really small number of actual investment banking jobs in Ireland. Uh, in terms of the front office roles, I'd say so on that note, people should do more of their own research. Study what are the companies who are operating here. What are the teams within that company that is based out of here, because that would tell you what kind of jobs would be available in Ireland. Personally, I found it tough to uh, get into the traditional Irish companies like AIB, BOI, or like the stockbroking companies like on the investment banking side. There's Goodbody, there's Davy, right? So those were sort of tough for me specifically to sort of try to penetrate. Uh, but apart from that, overall the finance jobs are there. Ultimately it depends on the kind of jobs you're looking for. If you're looking at something like equity research, or like capital markets, or you're looking into banking, or like treasury, for example. So there are a lot of treasury jobs, a lot of accounting related jobs here. A lot of people who come here to do finance, uh, they end up doing a professional qualification like the ACA, because the ACA has a lot of value over here, and so does the CFA.
Okay.
Right? So these certifications matter a lot, the professional qualifications. And I'd say, since a lot of the companies, not just finance companies, but corporates overall, have the European headquarters here, that's why there's a lot of accounting and treasury related roles available in the market.
Thank you for sharing all your experiences. Thank you for your time as well.
Pleasure.
Guys, if you want to reach out to Akul, and if you have any particular questions, you can either comment below and I'll drop a link to his LinkedIn and you can just reach out to him.